circuit near Marseille. It's flat, has the longest straight in Grand Prix racing, and is very fast. So the turbo car teams, Renault, Ferrari, Brabham and Toleman, have come to the historic French Grand Prix convinced that they'll stop the evergreen Ford V8 engine from winning its 150th Grand Prix. With honours even this year, 5 wins each to the turbos and the 3-litre cars, they could be right, especially as they're in the top 6 places on the starting grid. After an appalling season of unreliability and crashes, the Renault team upped the boost, fitted the super sticky qualifying tyres and ended up with René Arnoux and Alain Prost in pole and second places yet again. Pironi, Ferrari 3rd, Patrese, Brabham BMW 4th, Tombé, Ferrari 5th and Piquet, Brabham BMW 6th, with Arnoux over 7 seconds inside the lap record at nearly 138 miles an hour. Then the 3-litre Alfa Romeos of De Cesaris and Giacomelli, 7th and 8th, followed by Lauda, Rosberg, Daly and Watson, with British Grand Prix hero Derek Warwick a magnificent 14th in the Toleman. Hinton 23rd and Jeff Lees deputising for the injured Nigel Mansell 24th. But with Pironi leading Watson in the World Championship by only 5 points and a mere 7 points separating the next 5, the joker in the pack is that turbocharged engines don't like heat and Paul Ricard is very hot. So, will they last? Well, we'll know soon, but 54 laps here is 195 very demanding miles, and it's by no means certain that they will. And Jarrier's car left on the line, but as you can see, it is motoring under its own power, and there are the leaders going into the Ferrari, and now on towards the chicane, and Licole and Saint-Baume, and it is the 2 Renaults followed by Didier Pironi, then Riccardo Patrese, then Nelson Piquet in the 2nd Brabham BMW that you're looking at now. Behind him is Patrick Tombé, and now they start this long drag shortly down the longest straight in Grand Prix racing, which is over 1.1 miles long.
Yes, and now we're going to have our first chance to see the relative power of the different turbocharged engines. I expect the Brabhams to be particularly fast in the early stages. They were very fast in the warm-up this morning. They say that they're going to make a pit stop. I do hope they do. There's
Arnoux leading, Prost is in second place, Pironi, and it's either Piquet or Patrese. I can't identify here, but definitely René Arnoux, who has had quite the worst motor racing season in his career this year, and last year wasn't much better, and this race, as I said earlier, to him and the entire Renault team is absolutely critical, and it looks like Patrese up into 3rd position, almost 1 lap completed, 53 to go at the end. They're coming now into Les Pins and then Latour, and that is the left-hander which leads to Pont, the right-hander, over the bridge, and sure enough, the 2 turbo Renaults are in the lead, and at the end of lap 1, it is René Arnoux leading, Prost is 2nd, Patrese is 3rd, Pironi is 4th, Piquet is 5th, Tombé is 6th, Daly is 7th, Giacomelli 8th, and Indy Lauda in 9th position, and Derek Warwick is the Toleman, who did so well in practice yesterday, coming out with only quarter of an hour to go, and qualifying in 14th position, is in about that place at the moment. So, Alain Prost there that you are looking at now with Arnoux in front of him. Then there is Riccardo Patrese, the man who won at Monaco. But Patrese, of course, in this race is in the turbocharged Brabham BMW 4-cylinder engine, now into the straight for the 2nd time.
I expect Patrese to go into 2nd place, and the big question now will be whether he's got his turbocharger turned right up and is in fact going to make a pit stop for fuel. The Brabhams have the choice of running with their turbochargers turned well down to conserve fuel and run the whole distance without a stop, or turning their turbochargers up to a lot of boost and making a pit stop. And it's a very interesting calculation, and certainly brings a new dimension to Grand Prix racing, the idea of actually making a planned stop.
Well, now, Piquet is in 4th position, and the Brabhams, of course, have got to get about a 30-40 second lead halfway through the race. which will be lap 27, if they are to be able to beat the turbocharged Renaults and Ferraris behind them, assuming they're all still going. Now we're coming to the end of lap 2, and Riccardo Patrese is gaining on the leader, and through into third position goes Nelson Piquet. Fourth is Prost, fifth is Pironi, sixth is Patrick Torbay, seventh is Bailey, eighth is Giacomelli, ninth is Lauda, 10th is De Cesaris, and 11th is John Watson, 12th is Kenny Rosberg. Now, is Riccardo Patrese going to be able to take René Arnoux, the leader, on the next second lap, as he did on the first?
Yes, Patrese is perfectly placed now as they come round the right. They've got the left-hander to go through. He's dropped back a little bit there, but no, he's well placed for the toe now. He's going to walk past and into the lead. Another question mark hanging over the Brabhams is that they have had a lot of trouble with their engines in practice here. They had used 3 or 4 engines on Friday, had more engine trouble yesterday, and there goes Riccardo Patrese sweeping past the Renault with the draft. The Renault tucks back in again. Arnoux having another nibble back, but Patrese is there and he's going to pull away now.
Yes, Patrese, of course, we assume, because we've only been told this unofficially, is running on a half load of fuel and is running on very soft tyres so that he can come in halfway through, refuel and put on another set of very soft tyres. But as I was saying, he needs to build up a lead. Meantime, Theo Fabi, in one of the 2 turbocharged Tolmans, is out of the French Grand Prix as the leader on lap 3 comes through, and there's Salazar off. Well, now, Patrese leading, Arnoux in second place, and with Piquet right on Arnoux's tail, is 3.4 seconds ahead, and Piquet is now, as they come up to the Verrerie, right with René Arnoux in second place.
Yes, Patrese can keep that rate of progress up. That was a lap and a half it took him to get over the 3-second lead, and that's quite enough. And Piquet is now climbing all over the back of Arnoux. He won't be able to overtake until he gets onto the long straight, but he won't mind that because he's sufficiently well placed to get a very good show for the Renault and to go past.
Nelson Piquet, number 1, the reigning world champion, who, as I have said in the past, decided this year to concentrate on developing the 4-cylinder turbo BMW engine developed from the Formula 2 engine, and it looks as though as they come underneath the banner there, Piquet is going to come out of the slipstream of René Arnoux, and he does so, and we now have Brabham BMWs, the car designed by the brilliant Gordon Murray, in first and second places, and we are on lap 5 in this 54-lap race.
So here we see again just Piquet. He got a nice good run with the toe behind the Renault. He just slips out and then he's got the inside line for the very quick corner at the end. The cars are doing something like 200 miles an hour on that straight, the turbocharged cars, as Patrese back here you see going through with quite a big lead.
And you look at the distinctive Alfa Romeo, the V12 of Andrea De Cesaris, car number 22, the world champion, the man from Brazil, Nelson Piquet, taking the Courbe de Cygne, the long right-hander, now into the Beausset, which is the corner in Grand Prix racing which has the greatest G-forces of all. And there's Patrese coming, he's slowing right down. Patrese is losing the lead to Piquet. This is sensational because now on lap 8 in this French Grand Prix, and look, its turbo has caught fire. The turbo at the back of Patrese's BMW is on fire and he's obviously going to be out.
Oh, what a great shame. Yes, it looks like the engine's eaten the turbocharger. I hasten to add that I suspect Patrese doesn't realise the car's on fire at the back, but he's probably doing the best thing by keeping it going, hoping that the draft will blow the flames out. But he's heading round slowly into the pits, and they'll descend upon him. In fact, quite a little blaze going at the back of Patrese's car. But it's a great shame to have lost him.
Well, let's hope he's got his belt undone so that he can leap out of the car quickly, because I think it's going to go up in flames in a very violent way as Nelson Piquet and Patrese is in front of the pits now. His car is absolutely, I wish you could get a shot of it. There it is. Patrese needs to be out of that car very quickly indeed. It really is burning.
Yes, he's realised it's on fire now. It's getting pretty warm in there. So he's going to get well away.
Riccardo Patrese, then the brilliant Italian who won the Monaco Grand Prix. Unfortunately, the Paul Ricard officials are on it straight away. An idiot marshal has just run right across the circuit in front of the cars. But I can tell you now that Piquet is leading. That is one turbo gone, and I don't think it's going to be the last in this French Grand Prix, because this long Mistral straight with its 200-mile-an-hour speed is enormously demanding. And the Brabham BMW team, believe it or not, broke 6 engines in practice, and they are reputed to cost a minimum of £35,000 each, so you can do your own mental arithmetic. Nelson Piquet leads. In second place now then is René Arnoux. In third position is Prost. So the Renault BMW, the Renaults, which should be more reliable than the Brabham BMWs, which after all are in their first season of racing, are in a very strong position. And here is Piquet completing a lap. It's quite possible that the Piquet and Patrese refueling and retire situation was going to be different. There is Prost in third place. Piquet is leading now by just over 5 seconds, and there is an enormous gap before the new fourth place man. There he is. Didier Pironi comes through, and it looks to me as though his teammate in fifth place, Patrick Tambay, is closing up on him as the sixth place man and the leading 3-litre car, Derek Daly in the Williams, comes through, followed by Lauda.
Well, I think we all desperately hope that Nelson Piquet will keep going and won't run into engine problems. I think it must be the hot weather. Brabham, the BMW engine, they've had a little hot, and there's one of the Lotus with a tire job.
It's very difficult to tell them apart. I think it's Lees. Yes, it is. It's Jeff Lees, the man who's taking the place of the injured Nigel Mansell, who's still suffering from hand and wrist damage after his crash in Detroit. And Jeff Lees qualified all right after a lot of trouble, but his race is obviously wrong. Unless he can get into the pit and change that car, which is very clearly blown. So already Farby out, Patrese out, Salazar out, Lees out.
Yes, the BMW engines were having trouble in practice burning pistons because they were running, the mixture was getting too lean on the long straight, and they were having trouble fixing that. It looks in Patrese's case as if they hadn't cured it, but for all of our sakes, we do want to see Piquet go the distance, or certainly up to the pit stop if it's going to be, because this is a new plan, as I said before, to actually plan to try and win a Grand Prix deliberately with a pit stop. And if this is the way to go, it's certainly going to liven up Grand Prix racing if we get turbocharged cars running a lot of power and making planned stops.
And that was Keke Rosberg you saw dodging about. There he is. Keke Rosberg tried to fight his way up to get up behind the turbos, and ahead of him is Bruno Giacomelli there in the Alfa Romeo in 7th place now, followed by, it looks like, John Watson. And Jeff Lees is coming into the pits as I talk to you with his rear tyre flailing as Derek Daly goes through in 5th place. Niki Lauda is in 6th position. Then Bruno Giacomelli in 7th place, followed by John Watson 8th. Keke Rosberg 9th. And there is Michele Alboreto, and you're looking now at that battle I've just been talking about. Well, Keke Rosberg is doing what he did at Brands Hatch, albeit from a higher position up the grid. He's fighting his way through the field, and he's just gone past John Watson, and he's now up to Bruno Giacomelli. And Bruno Giacomelli is in 7th place with Lauda in front of him, with Daly, with Tambay, with Didier Pironi, with Prost, with Arnoux, and with Piquet, who is still leading on this, the 11th lap out of 54, as we look at John Watson, second in the World Championship. Now, is Keke Rosberg going to be able to take him? There is Daly going through the picture, followed by Niki Lauda. Daly's 5th, Lauda is 6th. Now you'll see Giacomelli, and I dare say that Rosberg will try and come out of his slipstream. And he does it. Now, is he going to be able to get through? Piquet has completed the lap. Completed lap 11 in the lead. Nelson Piquet is on his way with another 43 laps to go. And look again at Keke Rosberg passing Giacomelli, and in the process taking 8th place away from the Italian. So at the end of lap 11, Nelson Piquet is leading. René Arnoux is second. Alain Prost is in third position. Didier Pironi is fourth. Patrick Torbay is 5th, Daly is 6th, then Lauda, Giacomelli, Rosberg and Watson.
Well, the race has developed very much as expected into two classes, and here's the battle with the normally aspirated cars. And
that's Mauro Baldi, the Italian in the Arrows. Mauro Baldi, the European reigning Formula 3 champion, who has gone off, and it looks as though it was quite a big one, but it does look as though Baldi himself is all right, hopefully. Well, that car that's gone into the crowd is Jochen Maas's March, the popular West German driver, and it looks a very, very nasty accident indeed. Well, Maas's car looks as though it's burst into flames. The Paul Ricard firefighters have got at it very quickly indeed, as you can say, and hopefully the popular West German's going to be perfectly all right. It's Mauro Baldi, the Arrows driver, the man who went out of the race earlier on. He's helping Jochen Maas. Clearly Maas was in need of assistance, and the Italians got to him first. And Maas and Baldi seem perfectly okay from where I'm sitting. So we've had a flash from the other side of the course that now on lap 13 out of 54, John Watson in the Barbara McLaren, second place in the World Championship, is stopping. But we will have to get confirmation of that. Meantime, on lap 12, it's Piquet leading by 9 seconds from René Arnoux, with Prost about 3 seconds behind his teammate in third position. Then in fourth place is Didier Pironi in the Ferrari, and fifth Patrick Torbay. Sixth is Derek Daly in the 83-litre car. We're looking at the leader, world champion Nelson Piquet, who is on his 14th lap. Well, now the question obviously is, can the turbo Brabham keep going? It doesn't look good, to be quite honest, for its chances, because as I was saying earlier, they had 6 BMW engines blow in practice, and Nelson Piquet, although he won earlier this year, Nelson Piquet's engine is suspect, and Derek Daly has just gone into the pit. Well, it looks as though it's going to be a race of attrition already, because Derek Daly has gone into the pit, and there he is now. We're seeing exactly what's happening. As we have said many times, they usually change tyres as a precaution, and I would be surprised if the tyres were being changed as early as this.
Yes, they don't appear to be doing anything else on the car. It looks like a tyre change. I know that they were quite worried about their compound, particularly if the track got very hot, despite the fact that, in fact, there's a good breeze here today, so it's not as hot as it might be, but it looks like just a tyre stop.
Now Watson is coming into the pits as we look at the race leader, Nelson Piquet. Watson into the pits. Here is Mauro Baldi and Jochen Maas. On the right is the Italian Mauro Baldi sitting on the Armco. Well, we do know that as Piquet goes through to start his 22nd lap, we know from looking down the pit lane from our commentary position that the Brabham crew are out with the petrol hose, with the wheel-changing equipment. The mechanics, those who are concerned, are in their firefighting suits. So the producer, I think, is very wisely staying with Nelson Piquet.
The prospect of a pit stop is very exciting, because although Brabham's have approached it very professionally, they've prepared everything, they've put air jacks in the car, they've rehearsed it many times, they've been up to Donington Park and practiced it there, they've practiced it here, but in the heat of the moment and in the anger of the moment, a lot of things can go wrong with a pit stop, and if there's any sort of a panic, once one thing goes wrong, a wheel gets jammed on, you can lose an awful lot of time, so that's a risk they take. But it'll be very interesting to watch their drill, because they're undoubtedly very well drilled, and let's see if they can stick to it.
Lap 22, world champion Nelson Piquet in the Brabham BMW leads René Arnoux by 17 seconds. 3 seconds behind Arnoux is Prost. 4th is Pironi. In 5th position is Tournbe. 6th is Alboreto, now that Rosberg is out of the race. 7th is Giacomelli, and in 8th position, Derek Daly. 9th is Manfred Winkelhock, and in 10th position after a pit stop is Niki Lauda. The Brabham...
Yes, Brabhams have just signalled pumps to Piquet, which probably means that they're telling him to switch on the electric fuel pump, which will be to pick up the remaining strength of what fuel he's got in. They want him to stay out. It's probably just to clean out the tank and push the fuel into a collector pot so that he doesn't get any starvation, which of course will hurt the engine as well if it runs lean, and that has been the problem for BMW at this track.
Yes, and I'm cynical enough also to think that it might be a special signal and for pump Reed come in for pit stop. I don't know, I'm simply guessing. As James says, it almost invariably means switch on the electric pump. There is Arnoux in 2nd position, and he's still 17.5 seconds behind Piquet. He is ahead, incidentally, of one of the Tolmans, Derek Warwick, who has rejoined the race and is ahead of Manfred Winkelhock on the circuit. Piquet has now lapped everybody up to Derek Daly, who is in 9th position. So, as we watch the world champion on lap 23 out of 54 and wonder whether this is going to be the lap when he comes in, he is leading Arnoux. 3rd is Prost, 4th is Pironi, 5th is Tournbe, and then Alboreto. And where is Nelson Piquet? He's coming through to complete a lap, and I'm going to watch him very carefully indeed now to see whether that signal did mean come in. Well, he's coming round the right-hander, he's into the finishing straight, and the way he accelerates away, it is quite clear that he is on his way down to the Verrerie in 5th gear at 160 miles an hour as he goes through this left and right. And by the way, Keke Rosberg is back in the race, the man that we had unofficially been told had retired. But of course he's well down the field. There is Derek Warwick, followed by Winkelhock and Henton, and René Arnoux lapping all of them, as on his serene way goes Nelson Piquet. Piquet is now closing up on and about to lap number 5, Derek Daly in the Williams, and Daly is in 9th position. There are 4 laps now to half distance. And there's Piquet smoking. He's in trouble. Piquet, he's off. The second Brabham BMW is out. It has blown, and again, we are not going to know whether or not there would have been a pit stop. And on lap 24, Nelson Piquet, thoroughly to prove me wrong, leaves the French Grand Prix rather less dramatically, and there is a replay of it. As he was coming up to pass Derek Daly, I saw that puff of smoke. There he goes from the back of the Brabham BMW, and that must be the 8th engine that has gone in 3 days. What a bill for somebody to pay.
Yes, what a great shame. That really was a great pity to lose Piquet, particularly before half distance where we could see if we got a pit stop. And now the Renaults, that puts the 2 Renaults into a truly dominant position in the race. They're well clear of Pironi and the Ferrari. Over 20 seconds, Prost is clear. And so the question now goes as to whether the Renaults are going to be allowed to race each other.
Well, Renault, whilst they have been very unlucky this year, have by and large been lucky in the French Grand Prix. Last year, when the French Grand Prix was at Dijon, it was won by Alain Prost, his first Grand Prix, and 2 years before that, it was won by Jean-Pierre Jabouille, who is now team manager for the Tourment Ligier team. And it looks now as though Renault, having decided to let Brabham BMW get on with it and run their own race at their own pace, are having that decision justified. Lap 34. Arnoux, Prost lead second, Pironi third, Tournbe fourth, so it's Turbo's first, second, third and fourth. The 2 Turbo Renaults, first and second. There is the third place Turbo Ferrari of number 28, Didier Pironi, the Frenchman who lives in Paris. There is Alain Prost.
René Arnoux there, the race leader. And behind Pironi, still, as I said, Torbay fourth. Keke Rosberg is 25 seconds behind Torbay. And the gap between the only real fight on the circuit as Arnoux goes through to complete yet another lap. This is the battle for fifth position between, in the white and green Saudia Williams car, Keke Rosberg, and this time Michele Alboreto is a little bit closer in terms of time. He is 0.91 seconds behind Keke Rosberg as they go up to the Verrerie, the left and the right. This is very, very bumpy indeed. You can see the back of the car kick up past Salazar's broken 80S car into the chicane. This is a second gear bend. Now into L'École, another left-hander, round the Saint-Baume, up into third gear. Then, as they come out of the apex here, they change up in very shortly, about 10,000 RPM. Now into fourth gear. And Alain Prost and Niki Lauda in, respectively, second and eighth positions with a full lap between them, go through. There's Prost, and number 8 is Niki Lauda, the winner of the British Grand Prix, the world champion of 1975 and 1977, right back on top of his previous brilliant form, and see the way he is hounding Alain Prost in second place. But I don't suppose for one moment that the Frenchman, there is René Arnoux leading, I don't suppose the Frenchman Alain Prost in second place will let Niki Lauda's harassing tactics rattle him for one moment. He's very, very steady-headed, is Alain Prost, under pressure, and he will be running his own race.
Thinking about the championship, Murray, it is in fact very important for Renault that Arnoux does slow down and give way to Prost to give him 9 points if he can, because if Prost picks up 9 points today, we've got a really wide open championship situation. Prost at the moment has 19 points, but that'll take him up to 28 if he can pick up the 9 today, and although Pironi, if he finishes where he is, will extend his lead a little bit. The Renault form, if they can finish races, has been such that one would have to say that they are the best turbo car at the moment, but bearing in mind that the Brabham seems to be the quickest. But if Renault can settle down and Prost can start winning from now on in, he will could easily pick up the points difference in the championship and really open it out. Pironi looked to be cruising, but he won't like Prost getting 9.
Lap 52, and that signal has again been given to René Arnoux. He is on his 52nd lap. He's just coming through to complete it as the battle for fifth continues.
I wonder what's going through René Arnoux's mind at the moment. I imagine he's thinking, do I dare or don't I dare? Do I dare pretend I didn't see it? How can I explain to them that I misunderstood him when I get in? For sure he's thinking of every possible way.
Yes, and he's now on his 53rd lap, which is the last lap but one, and the gap between himself and Prost is increasing, actually. It's 19.4 seconds. And Alain Prost has now been given the board for the first time. So Arnoux will know that he's supposed to be slowing up, and Alain Prost will know that he's supposed to be winning. And it's got to happen this lap or the next lap, and the gap between Prost and Pironi, who is in third place, is 20 seconds now. So, on lap 53 out of 54, the question is, who of the two Renault drivers is going to win? Arnoux leads, Prost is second, Pironi is third, Torbay is fourth, Rosberg is fifth, just ahead of Alboreto, who is sixth. A lap behind, Daly seventh, Lauda eighth, Giacomelli ninth, Henson 10th, Winkelhock 11th, and Jeff Lees is in 12th place, and Derek Warwick is still going in 15th position, 4 laps behind the leader. This is the battle for fifth, Rosberg and number 3 there, Michele Alboreto. Are we going to see a dramatic last lap with René Arnoux making a very obvious and deliberate move and slowing down as if to say, I could have won, but I was not allowed to? Well, Gerard Larousse, the Williams the Renault team head, and Jean Sarge, the team manager, are both sitting very ominously down the board. So there's a official on the line giving a 1 lap to go signal, and he's giving the signal now to Alain Prost, who is coming out of the last right-hander into the finishing straight, and I'm going to give you the gap. Is Arnoux going to slow down? No, it doesn't look like it. It's 19 seconds as Prost goes through, and you are looking at the French Grand Prix race leader on the last lap, René Arnoux. Is he going to win his 3rd Grand Prix, or is Prost going to win his 6th? Here is Prost.
What a terrible thing to happen to Arnoux, and really the outcome of this, if Arnoux doesn't stop, there's going to be terrible repercussions within the team. They've had their fair share of ups and downs this year, a lot of aggravation because, as we discussed earlier, they haven't been finishing races, and now a situation like this is really more than they need.
Well, Arnoux is going to have to make his peace with the management, and I think it would be very difficult for him to do so, because he has had so much trouble this year that they wanted Prost to win, as James has been saying, for that vital 9 points. Well, there he is. He's well on his way on the last lap now. Patrick Tambay is through in 4th position, and Keke Rosberg is still ahead of Alboreto.
I think if he is going to slow down, he'll do it right at the end, just to underline the fact that he's getting awfully near the end of the lap now.
Well, I can see him. He's into the last left-hander. He's approaching the last right-hander. He's not going to slow down because the checkered flag is out now. And René Arnoux, to the cheers of the French crowd, wins the French Grand Prix. But are Jean Sarge and Gérard Leroux going to be amongst the applauding crowd? It is a famous victory at last for Renault, who have broken their jinx at, of all places, the French Grand Prix, with a superb 1st and 2nd places after both the Brabham BMWs of Riccardo Patrese and Nelson Piquet went out of the race when each of them had been leading. So Renault came good at just the right time, and the misery that Arnoux and Prost have been suffering has ended. And what a day for France. The French Grand Prix won by Frenchman René Arnoux in a French Renault ahead of his French teammate Alain Prost. Frenchman Didier Pironi 3rd, Frenchman Patrick Tambay 4th, and turbos in the top 4 places, with Keke Rosberg, the leading 3-litre driver, in 5th place, and Michele